Originally titled Thank You Little Girl, the song that became Thank You Girl was recorded on the same day as From Me to You, which was Tuesday, March 5th. The Beatles completed the basic track in just 6 takes. However, an additional 7 takes were needed to redo the ending section, which did give Ringo a chance to include his first proper drum fills. The 13th take eventually became the final version. And then on March 13th, John returned alone to Abbey Road to lay down a harmonica part using a diatonic harmonica in the key of G. And in his memoirs, Jeff Emmerich, then an assistant engineer, recalled that John showed up to the session with a nasty cold and had forgotten his harmonica. He ended up borrowing one from Malcolm Davies, a technician from the etching department. And at the end of the session, instead of expressing any gratitude for it, John told him the harmonica tasted like a sack of potatoes, which I imagine did make recording a little bit more gross. John did manage to record 14 takes, but he was frequently interrupted by his cold. Norman Smith later did edit together the master using several different takes, and both the mono and stereo mixes were then subsequently produced from those. An important side note to this recording session is that Norman Smith significantly altered his recording approach here. To prevent drum and guitar sounds from bleeding into the vocal microphones, he decided to separate John and Paul from Ringo and position them to sing into microphones set in a figure 8 pattern. This setup allowed the microphones to capture sound only from the front and back while rejecting noise from the sides. And as a result, the band's performance retained its live feel, but with much greater clarity and precision. John was quoted as saying, "We knew that if we wrote a song called Thank You Girl, a lot of the girls who wrote us fan letters would take it as a genuine thank you. So a lot of our songs were directly addressed to the fans." Before composing From Me to You, John and Paul believed this collaboratively written track would serve as the A-side of their upcoming single. However, despite their initial enthusiasm, the song was ultimately considered weaker than From Me to You and was released as the B-side instead.